Good morning, everyone. This is Scott of the Scottman. We're here to do a drive video today. We're heading north on Interstate 469. We're driving in its entirety today. So, as you can tell, we're down in northeast Indiana. So, we're in the Fort Wayne area right now. So, we're going to be heading north on I-469. And it goes from I-69 all the way to I-69. Because this is basically a loop around Fort Wayne. So technically, 469 goes around Fort Wayne completely, and also I-69 also goes to the west of Fort Wayne. I'll be honest with you, if you're going north up to Michigan, like to Lansing, coming up from like Indianapolis, this is not really a shortcut. It's a beautiful morning out. There's some clouds out, but one nice thing is that it might keep the sun from appearing in this video, because it's right around sunrise, and so other than some of the clouds off in the horizon, it's pretty nice out. My current thermometer is reading 34 degrees Fahrenheit. If you convert that to Celsius, it's a little over 1 degree. So a little chilly, but for November, this is pretty normal. Yeah, I was just in the Fort Wayne, Indiana area this past weekend. I came down just for a full day, and then also decided to spend the night. Which a couple reasons why I did that is, one is because of all the things I wanted to do in Fort Wayne, plus the 2 restaurants I wanted to go to. It was already getting dark by the time I got done with everything, which is like around like 6 o'clock. So it was already after dark. And although I could have easily driven home the same day, but I didn't want to drive 3 hours in the dark during deer season, because like I feel like the fall is the perfect time where you see a bunch of deer crossing the road. And if you don't believe me, it's like I drove down US 23 yesterday on my way down to Ohio and Indiana, and I saw a deer carcass on the side of the road. So it's like, yeah, I think I'll play it safe then, just stay the night. Fortunately, I was able to stay at a pretty nice hotel just a little out of the city, and price was very affordable. That could be because people usually don't think of Fort Wayne as their primarily vacation spot or anything. And off to the left a ways, that is where the Fort Wayne, Fort Wayne International Airport is located. It's not a huge airport by any means, but it's enough to where you can fly to like the major hubs. Like I think you can fly like to Detroit, Chicago. Again, now don't quote me on this because I don't know anything about the Fort Wayne Airport, but I'm pretty sure you can at least fly to Detroit and Chicago. Maybe even to Cleveland or Columbus, but I'm not sure. And it's probably not something I will ever know, because I'll never really have a reason to fly into Fort Wayne, just because of how close it is to Michigan. And yeah, although you can't see it in the video, yeah, I can see the control tower off to the left. Oh yeah, so yeah, it's a little darker out because yeah, it's right around sunrise. So I'll probably have to brighten. So while I'm editing this, I may have to increase the brightness a little. But at least the sun is staying out of view, so that way we can see a little bit better. Oh, and then yeah, the second reason why I decided to spend the night in Fort Wayne is so that way I can film these driving videos, because I'm planning to film 3 of them today. 2 here in Indiana, and then 1 back in Michigan on my way home. European, half Native American. Which is why, even though he's considered or he was considered a Miami Indian, but he has a French name. But I was at least able to drive to the house just to see it. But unfortunately, the house was closed for people to go in, because at this time of the year, I think in November, it's only open on the first Saturday, and happened to come down on the second Saturday. So unfortunately, I was not able to go inside it. But it's like, what's cool about the Fort Wayne, Indiana area is that because Fort Wayne is situated up on a hill a little bit. It's not that prevalent. Like, you can't really tell it's on a hill, because the elevation gain between Fort Wayne and a lot of the rivers nearby, like especially like the Wabash River, it's not that significant. So it's not like, ooh, big hill. It's not like Montreal, where you have the big hill overlooking the city, or even Pittsburgh, where you got the hills on the south side of the Ohio and the Monongahela rivers. But it's like Fort Wayne was at a very significant spot, because it is like the closest spot, or it has the closest connection between the Great Lakes and Mississippi River / Gulf of Mexico watersheds. Because the Wabash River, which is like the main river in Indiana, that goes eventually into the Ohio River, which goes to the Mississippi River, then down to the Gulf of Mexico, and then you have the St. Mary's, the St. Joseph, which go into the Maumee River. The Maumee River heads over toward the Toledo area into Lake Erie, and it goes into the Great Lakes. So the area of Fort Wayne was a very significant spot, not only for European settlers, like when General Anthony Wayne came to Fort Wayne and established the first fort back in 1794, but it was a very ideal spot for Native Americans too, because it was an easy way for them to be able to use the area as a portage between the Maumee River and the Wabash River, because they didn't have to go as far. But after the European settlers came in, and that's when they eventually built the Wabash and Erie Canal, not to be confused with the main Erie Canal in upstate New York. But it was a canal that was built to connect the Maumee and the Wabash rivers. Although, of course, nowadays, it's like, now they can use, like, have the railroad now. And then, of course, you also, of course, have all the freeways and highways. So this exit here, this is US Highway 27. So Highway 27 north will take you into downtown Fort Wayne. As a matter of fact, take Highway 27 north, that'll take you not only into downtown Fort Wayne, but you'll also will go right by the third and final fort that was in Fort Wayne, that was built back around 1815, 1816, which lasted for about 3 years until it was abandoned when everybody was heading further west. And also, yeah, going south, that's a continuation of Highway 27. But one cool thing about Highway 27 is that it used to go up into Michigan. However, it's now been truncated and it only goes up to Fort Wayne. So it ends at I-469 just to the north of Fort Wayne. Because back in the day, like, I think before like the early 2000s, Highway 27 continued along I-69 going north up to Lansing, and then it continued from Lansing, headed all the way up toward Mount Pleasant, Clare, and then eventually ending at I-75 south of Grayling. However, I think because, before that, but there's also Highway 127, which is supposed to be like an auxiliary route for 27, but in the state of Michigan, it's more of a major highway. Because 127 comes up from far northwest Ohio, goes up into Michigan, going through like Jackson and then Lansing. And it used to end in Lansing up where 27 would continue. However, they decided to drop the trunk line for 27 going north out of Fort Wayne, and they decided to instead have 127 continue north of Lansing instead. So now it's 127, which goes up to Grayling. So because of that, it's like now you don't see Highway 27 in Michigan anymore. Sunday morning, there has been a lot of traffic out, although we got two big trucks up ahead of us, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. But yeah, what's funny is that after I get done with this video, I'm gonna be going right back south on I-69, back to where I started this video, because I want to film I-69 going north. Because normally when I'm going back to Michigan, if I'm coming back from, like, let's say the Indianapolis area or southern Indiana, or coming back from the southern U.S. and I have to go through Indianapolis, I come back this way and I take 24 east toward Toledo, and then head up to Michigan from there. But today it's like, because I want to film I-69 north, because I'm not in a hurry to get home, so I figure take the longer way home today and film another video in the area. And we're almost around this truck, and then yeah, I'm so glad there were enough clouds off to the east where it's kept the sun at bay. Because it's like, if I'm driving into the sun, it's like you can't really see as much. So it made this for a much better video, but it's like I was a little nervous about filming this morning, because I knew that I was gonna be driving toward the east a little bit, and it could have obstructed my view a little bit, especially with the video. But thankfully, I was blessed with some clouds this morning, so that helped out. Tell, it's like, yeah, I-469 goes around Fort Wayne, but we have not really seen much of any city or suburban life. It's mostly country, although I do see a residential neighborhood off to the left, like off the ways from the freeway. But what's cool about Fort Wayne is that it is the second largest city in Indiana, with Indianapolis, of course, being the largest city. But an interesting thing is that Fort Wayne, even though it's the second largest city in Indiana, it is smaller than Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is the second largest city in Michigan. Because, yeah, when I was walking around Fort Wayne yesterday, I could definitely notice it was a lot smaller than Grand Rapids. And less skyscrapers, too. And here's the exit for Highway 30. So if you go west from this exit here, that'll take you back into downtown Fort Michigan, this is the exit I typically take to go back. Because Highway 24 is a nice expressway. Which, going east from here, there are no traffic lights between here and Highway 23 or I-475 over in the Toledo area. So it's a nice way to go back. But we won't be going back that way today. And technically, US Highway 24 continues west along 469 north. And we're going over the Maumee River here. So I was just talking about that river just earlier in this video. So the Maumee River, as I was saying, it continues its way into northwest Ohio, going into downtown Toledo, and then it empties out into the western part of Lake Erie. Miles to go till we get to I-69, so we're almost done with this video. We got like another several minutes left to go. Yep, now the sun's coming out. And perfect time too, because I'm not filming anything going east for the rest of this video. Yeah, northern Indiana, it's definitely in the Great Lakes watershed, because yeah, Fort Wayne of course has the Maumee River, and you go to the northwest part of Indiana, going out towards the Chicago area, well, like to Gary, that area. It's like, yeah, you got Lake Michigan over there, and then go to the northern part, like to South Bend or Elkhart. You got the St. Joseph River. Not to be confused with the St. Joseph River over here in Fort Wayne. Because the St. Joseph River that goes through South Bend and Elkhart, that starts in Michigan. Because that river heads south into Indiana to Elkhart and South Bend. And then it heads back into Michigan and empties out into Lake Michigan over near the Benton Harbor, St. Joseph, Michigan area. Alright, we're seeing a little bit more suburban action over this part. Because I see like a lot of stores and restaurants, pharmacies over off to the left. Yeah, I see like Bob Evans, Cracker Barrel. I also see a Meijer. Oh yeah, right to the left, or over to the left. You see a Meijer. But yeah, this stretch around of I-469 that we're on right now, from the 24 exit all the way to northern I-69. I have never driven on this part before, just mainly because I've never had a reason to drive on this part. So it's like, yeah, this last stretch here, I'm seeing this for the very first time. Say overall, I had a really nice time in Fort Wayne. Like, yeah, if I would have come here in the summertime, I probably could have easily have done this as a day trip. But I feel like a better play it safe not drive back in the dark, because I don't trust those pesky deer out there. Because yeah, thankfully I've not hit a deer yet. Although I did come dangerously close one time. Like last year when I was up in northern Michigan, like up in the Montcalm County area, that's like east of Cadillac, Michigan. coming in from a park, starting to head back toward the Detroit area, and a deer came out in front of my car, and I was like inches away from hitting it. And thankfully the deer was able to pass right on by very quickly, just in time. And it was in the daylight too. It's like the deer came out of nowhere, and thankfully it got out of my way like that. So that's, I would say, is the closest I've come to hit a deer. And look, for what I've heard, yeah, hitting a deer is not fun at all because they can do damage to your car. As a matter of fact, I think with one of my nieces, I remember she was in her car one time and she happened to hit a deer. This is like 2 or 3 years or 4 years ago. I can't remember exactly when, but it damaged her car significantly, and it was in for repairs for a long time. Yeah, they got some major road work going on here. So we should have like another couple miles to go until we get over to I-69. So we're kind of in like in the northern suburbs of Fort Wayne right now. So this is the one, again, the one part of 469 which does get into the Fort Wayne, Indiana area a little bit. Back at that exit for Highway 30, we're also going west on Highway 32, or Highway 30 TOO. And right here, we're going over the St. Joseph River, the same river I told you about that goes into the Maumee River in downtown Fort Wayne. Okay, so we're getting ready to approach I-69. So we have driven the entirety of I-469 in this video. So if you're to go north on I-69, that'll take you up toward the far northeast part of Indiana, and then cross over into Michigan, heading up toward Marshall, Charlotte, and Lansing, Michigan, before it curves east, going out toward Flint and Port Huron. If you head south on I-69, you'll head back into the Fort Wayne, Indiana, or at least the northwest and west side of Fort Wayne, before we're going down to Indianapolis and heading down that way. Alright, so I need to get over in the left lane. Because I just want to take the... Because I want to head back to the south. So I mentioned going north, but I want to start from Fort Wayne first. So yeah, I first got the exit for I-69 north, going up toward Michigan, and then now we're going to get on this ramp here. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this video here on I-469 South, or I-469 North, going around the Fort Wayne, Indiana area. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to click that like button, and don't forget to click that subscribe button so that way you don't miss out on any future adventures of mine. Well, thank you for watching, and this is Scott, or the Scottman, signing out.